2 weeks after I graduated high school, I was on tour with a rapper by the name of Young Crooked. He saw me play the Star Spangled Banner on YouTube and was like, yo, I'll give you 15 minutes to open up for everybody as long as you start out with the Star Spangled Banner. And I went and I would play, like, it was so weird, the dynamic of starting out with the Star Spangled Banner, then playing songs like Laid to Rest and Unholy Confessions, and then hopping off stage and letting everybody rap.
Listening to Cain and Randy on Scratch the Vinyl.
Scratch the Vinyl.
All right, Scratch the Vinyl fans, welcome back to the show. We're so glad that you made it back. I got to tell you guys, I keep referring to how exciting things are and how the new Scratch the Vinyl, we've just got so many things going on right now. So let me talk about it for a second. We've got the new, that's right, new everybody, release day. If you didn't already know, listening to the Pete Waters episode from the Zoo Bar, we're getting a lot of great responses of that. But our new release day is Manic Monday once again. And why are we doing that? Because we are clearing out space and we're making room for the biggest live stream Fridays you'll ever see. We are giving you guys a chance to have access to us, to tell us what to talk about, to just get in the conversation with us. Heck, you can even be on the show if you want, if you just get a hold of us, and we'll see how it goes. But we will be having live streams very soon, and we'll be doing that. I'll get those on all of our different socials. And speaking of socials, everybody, we're on YouTube. We need you guys to go. We need you to be part of our Scratch the Vinyl team. All you are part of our street team, so we need you to continue to spread the word and to go to Scratch the Vinyl podcast at gmail.com. Email us. You can also go and find us on our channel for YouTube and go there. So I hope you guys take part in that. I'm so glad you guys loved the Zoo Bar episode that we did. The content is just getting better and better. And I owe it all to my brother from another mother, my guy, the other half, the yin to my yang, or whatever the heck you say. He is the chill man himself. He got me choked up here. He's my guy. So let's bring him on right now. Randy, Mr. Chill Wilson, how the hell are you, buddy?
Man, don't die on me. We're just getting started for today.
Well, I got to take a breath sometimes. I can talk for a ridiculous long amount of time. And then sometimes if I don't take a breath or whatever, I get all hoarse and everything. So someday I'm going to set the world record for most words spoken in one sitting without taking a breath.
Well, that's great. I used to make fun of the YouTube shows that, I have to stop. Hey, please like and subscribe. But man, serious Scratch the Vinyl viewers, like and subscribe. Get us up to the next level. That's where we're at. Why? Because we have nothing but great talent we're promoting right now, and I can't wait to get into what we got going on today. And I'm just going to tell you, Cain, I had a great week. We had some great shows this week, and I feel like everything has been very productive.
Yeah, I feel like we're hitting our stride, Randy. I feel like things are going well. People are starting to look at us as the go-to for being the mouthpiece of the people out there when it comes to musicians in the area. And we're starting to get a lot of high praise. And yeah, honestly, it's been going just really well. And I don't know. How do you feel about it all as you reflect on these last couple of years where we've been hitting it hard? How do you feel things are going?
I think it's going really good. Look, it took us a little time to get our rhythm with, doing the interviews, but I feel like, the key is the talent. Like we're getting the background from the real talent and the backbone of the music industry here in Lincoln and in the state. And I'm not gonna lie, we've had a couple national artists come on. So just looked at our analytics. We're now in 44 countries. Can you believe all these people around the world want to hear about little old Lincoln, Nebraska, right in the middle of the USA and find out that holy cow, they do have some real performers there.
It always kind of blows me away that these people are listening. I mean, it's not that I don't believe in it. It's just it's crazy to have people in Germany and all of these different places, Sweden, listening every week, Africa. I mean, we have them all over the place. And I wonder to myself, like, am I teaching some guy how to speak English, or am I giving some guy like an English personality? And they're like, oh no, after they dig into who I am, they're like, no, that's not the guy I want to follow. Like, I always wonder what it is. Like, why the heck do they do it?
Well, now they know what a Nebraska accent sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I've been accused of having almost like a white trash accent, so to speak. But I mean, I did grow up in the mean streets of Northwest Lincoln. Not that there's a bunch of white trash people out there, but I am one of them. So
You're just calling out your buddies.
yeah, I'm gonna get my ass beat next time I go out there.
Well, I tell you what, we've got a great new guest today. A really good young up and comer that we've kind of put our eye on, and I'm very excited to get him on the show. You want to give a little hype for us?
Oh yeah, we're gonna give him that Flava Flav flair. We're gonna give him a nice hype here. So I connected with this guy after seeing that he played on the Metal Manifesto shows that John has had. I've talked to John about this person and what he's got going on, and there's just a lot of buzz. He's a young guy. He's he's just hitting it hard out there. He's been touring. He's been doing it all. So let's not waste it now, everybody. We have another awesome guest on our hands. Everybody, we have Sonny B. Sonny, how the heck are you doing?
I am here. I'm doing great, and thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
Well, being here is half the battle. You're either here or you're there. But we're so glad that you made it. The metal fans they're gonna unite. They love when we highlight metal people on here. And I don't know, do you consider yourself hard rock, super metal? What brand of metal or rock do you consider yourself?
Well, I kind of do. When I write metal, it's like kind of a range almost. I'd say I go from like a lot of people have compared No Reason to Tool, and then I have things like Thrones of Sand sounds like Slipknot. It's just a range. It goes from like metalcore to thrash to I just play metal.
I hate those questions because, like, me as an artist, I hate when people ask me, well, what do you even play? I hate that question because it's like, I don't know. Like, nobody wants to be put in a box. But I mean, if we had to put you in a box, like, I've watched your videos, I've listened to your songs. It feels to me, if I have to put you into something, like you're heavily influenced by like the guitar players from Slipknot and different things. And I don't know. I mean, who are your guitar heroes that got you into this?
So my top three are probably like all over the place. I have at number one, I got Jimi Hendrix. At number two, I got Tim Henson of Polyphia. And then at number three, I've got Steve Vai or Yngwie. One of those two are probably at number three. It's a bit of a tie.
I've been pitting guitar players against each other just for the fun of it on TikTok. And I've been pitting guys like Buckethead against this guy, or, Zach Wilde against this guy. If you had to have them battle it out to the end, I mean, really battle it out, who would you say stands at the top of the heap?
You got it. It's not my number one either. It's going to be Tim Henson. I'm sorry. Just the technicality behind his playing and just his fingers movements are just so, like, I watch him and it makes me want to quit.
Have that conversation all the time, don't we, Cain?
Yeah, most times I want to quit. Hey, I watched some of your videos and I wanted to grab all my instruments and burn them in a corner somewhere and silently weep to myself.
That's Cain's go-to. Every time we start doing background on somebody and they're a great guitar player, he goes, "I just quit." And I'm like, "What?"
You never really quit though. That's the fun thing about it is I always just like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. We were talking to somebody the other day about guitar players when we were at a meeting, and it was just really cool to talk to them about their process. So I mean, like, what do you do when you attack something or you attack a guitar solo or something? Like, how do you really dig into it? Like, say you're learning one of your heroes' guitar solos, right? How do you attack it without getting frustrated? Because I know when I try to do it, I get so frustrated because I feel like I could nail it, but I'm not necessarily killing it. What do you do?
So, I don't really. I kind of use my frustration as motivation, more or less, to like be like, all right, I shouldn't be this shit. Let me fucking do this. I can just do it. So that's why I those are like just words I throw at myself. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna do it. It's like you can see how it's supposed to be done. Just do it.
I love that. It's, to be the best, you really have to have that mentality. Like you've gotta feel like you can overcome anything to really kind of then find your own thing, really. But it takes that process to see what your hands can do and how to bend strings, and finally you find your own, I think. Well, let's get into a little bit just kind of how you get started and what got you into this music.
So when I was like, as long as I can remember, I've played guitar. I say 4 on all of my bios and everything, but that's just probably because that's like my oldest recollection of playing guitar. My dad was the one who taught me how to play guitar. He had a BC Rich Warlock and an Ibanez that he kept downstairs next to a crate amp, and I would go down there and I would just watch him play. And then I remember I got a little acoustic, and then that was when I first started learning like Metallica songs and stuff like that. And then I took a little break when I was growing up, because at a point it felt like, oh, this isn't something I want to do. This is something that I'm being made to do, because my dad would try and coax me into learning like scales and modes, and he'd be like, I'll give you $75 if you learn this whole book of scales and modes front to back. And then I'd do it, and then it wouldn't pay off. And I was like, but that was because I didn't see the actual payoff at the time. Looking back, and then I hit 13, and I remember one of my friends asked me to learn to play Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult, and I just pulled it up on YouTube, and I listened to it, and I'm like, oh, it's played like this. And then that was when I first started learning how to play songs by ear, and then people were telling me that's not, like, normal. So I was like, maybe I should, like, do something with this. And then I started doing TikTok live streams where I would sit there and I would learn the song on stream as people requested it. And, like, I would listen to, like, the first 30 seconds-ish, and then I would, like, start playing along with the song, and then I would hear it change up, and then I would, like, I'd figure it out. And by the time of, like, listening through a song, I could probably figure it out. And then started getting shows. And after that, it was pretty much just kind of, I pretty much was just born into playing music, pretty much.
Well, so why was your dad a musician? I mean, what got him thinking that you should do this? I mean, what was it, just that you were just always interested in it? Was music always around? What was it?
So he loved playing the guitar downstairs, and he would play like some Slayer, he would play some Metallica. I loved the sound of the heavy because it was like, it filled your chest, it filled everything around you, and you were just like, I'm engulfed in this sound. And it was like, that was what I fell in love with, was that. And my dad would play for me, and then he started, I always watched him, and I would pick up his guitar and I would act like I was strumming along and just mess around. And then eventually that's when they got me the little acoustic, and I still have that little acoustic somewhere. It's a little memento as where it started.
Well, some of those first guitars mean a lot to you. I mean, I still play the same guitar that I gigged with all the years that I gigged. It's a Fender guitar. It's a Strat that I took the ugly black paint off of, and I stained it, I sanded it, I burned it. I did all these things to make it look like it was kind of in like almost like a barn fire look to it. But it means so much to me. There's an acoustic guitar that I play. It's just an old crappy Dean, and it just, I still write almost all of my songs on that guitar because it has that certain feel, it has that sound. There's nothing special about it other than it's special to me. So you mentioned those guitars, but like, what is your go-to if you had to be like a brand guy? And this is another conversation that guitarists either like or they hate. What type of brand guy are you? I'm a Fender guy.
I'm Ibanez through and through. They make that S series. I have they have the Axiom label 7-string that everybody kind of goes crazy for, and the guitars I use are the Axiom label 7-string, but it's in a 6-string with the same Fishman Fluence pickups and everything, and it's also in an S body, so it's like just paper thin.
Randy's probably looking at me. I'm creaming in my jeans right now because I love it left us speechless for a second. I love gear talk, man. I if I had $1 billion, I would still be poor because I would have $1 billion worth of gear. So that's all it would
I
be.
felt that to my core.
He knows I'm laughing because it makes him want to go down to the place and pick one up, and he knows his wife will kill him if he goes and buys a new guitar.
Well, I got 3 of them back here. There's my 3.
Look at that. You jealous, Cain?
I'm jealous of every guitar. And every time I go to Roots Music Shop or, wherever I go to Dietz. I'll admit it. I go to Dietz sometimes, great business. I go to Guitar Center, now and then. And I want all of them. That's the thing. They all have a value of some sort to me. So I am envious of you. You probably play out of, what type of cabinets do you play out of?
I don't play through any Well, I have a cabinet out in my garage that I like to go out and jam on every once in a while, but when I'm performing in studio, I have this little beast right here. It's called a Boss GT1. Is this the one? Yeah, this one's the 100. And it's got 99 different bank up, bank down slots. Which side of the pedal am I on? So these go up and down through your banks. Each bank has 4 different slots. It's got a looper, and then this is your Excel button, and it kind of changes your tone just a little bit. You can go in and fully edit any pedal board in there you want. You can add chorus delay. It's got every pedal you could imagine. You can adjust it in any way you want.
Well, that thing looks like it's seen some mileage, my friend.
Yeah, that was the first one. My other one is sitting out in the garage because I was actually out there busting out some new songs I've been working on.
Let's talk about maybe a little bit how you got to start touring and maybe what kind of how your band life developed a little bit.
So when I was 16, I played my very first show. It was at a senior center at the local town. And so I just busted out an acoustic and I played songs like The Rain Song, Yellow by Coldplay, just things that would be like appealing to hear just acoustic. And that was before I started singing and playing. And then after that, my dad was like, you got to learn how to sing and play. So I started learning how to sing and play songs, and then I worked up a set, and then COVID hit and I wasn't able to get any shows. And then after COVID, I kind of started doing open mics and doing a few shows here and a few shows there, and I kind of started a little high school band. We went by the name Celix 6. And then that band kind of like sprayed off because not everybody was up for doing shows and stuff. So then there became 3 of us, and we became Iron Wall, and we played like 2 or 3 shows as Iron Wall. And then it just became Sonny B because most of the places were just like open mics that had like no stage and no space for a band and a kit. And by that time, my bassist in the high school band was just like, I don't really have time for this. I'm in this activity and this activity and this activity, and I'm also doing tracks, so I can't really make it for any shows or anything. And so it was just me and the drummer, and then me and the drummer had the falling out, and so it just became Sonny B. And then kept doing open mics, kept playing shows. I played at the other side in Kearney. I played a few places for open mics, and then graduated high school. 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I was on tour with a rapper by the name of Young Crooked. He saw me play the Star Spangled Banner on YouTube and was like, yo, I'll give you 15 minutes to open up for everybody as long as you start out with the Star Spangled Banner. And I went and I would play like It was so weird, the dynamic of starting out with the Star Spangled Banner, then playing songs like Laid to Rest and Unholy Confessions, and then hopping off stage and letting everybody rap. It was such a weird dynamic, but it was cool. People loved it, and then a couple people were like, "Hey, well, I could have you at this show," and so it was a benefit for Baby J. I have the poster right there. So we did that one, and they were like, well, could you do this other benefit because we didn't raise enough money? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And that one was without rappers, and that was like my first show where I had to have originals. So I sat down and in a week busted out an album called Deities, which is currently being remastered, reworking on that so we can re-release it on Spotify and Apple Music. And busted that out, and I played that at a venue called Barleycorns in Wichita. And after that, it kind of just became doing regular shows with originals, and then started working on writing more originals. And last year was when I first picked up a bassist, taught him all of the bass lines from scratch, and then I've been in a few other bands. I was in a band called Rage Is My Rival down by Pittsburgh, Kansas, and then another band called Grave Key. And then I picked up my drummer from Grave Key to kind of make a full band. I could really use a rhythm guitarist, but at the moment, bass and drums it fills up the stage enough, and we can play with a rhythm track that I record. So it's not too terribly bad being able to work stuff out like that.
So did you just so you obviously were kind of forced to have to start writing music and creating songs. How's the writing process been for you?
If you want me to be honest, when I write a song, the time it takes to play the song is about the time it takes to write the song. I just sit down and I'm like, oh, that's a cool riff. I bet I could make that into a song. And then I just play for like 3 minutes. And I'm like, all right, there's a song.
I wish it were that easy for the rest of us. Like, I've sat on songs for like 10, 15 years before I've finished some of them. So some of us are playing the long game, Sonny, and some of us, like you, are able to just blast it out in no time.
Well, the thing I do struggle with is lyrics. So I can, hold on, let me look at my notebook. I tell you how many songs I have to work on. Roughly 29 songs I'm working on lyrics on right now.
And so is that the hardest part for you? It seems like you've got the guitar parts on lock, my friend.
The guitar parts, the solos, I bust all of those out. And when I write solos, like, I just like listen to, so normally when I write my solos, they're over like breakdown type areas. So it's like boom, boom, brr, boom for Thrones of Sand. I just kind of follow that rhythm with the notes, but make the notes different.
Let's talk about some of these songs that you have released right now. I know that you just came out with last year. You had No Reason and Thrones of Sand, which you mentioned out there. Tell us a little bit more about those songs, and just give us kind of your feel on it.
So No Reason, that one is a really fun song. I kind of, in my head, I was listening to a little bit of Pierce the Veil at the time. And I really liked in their song Bulls in the Bronx where it gets like real quiet, and like also in Avenged Sevenfold they do this a lot where they have these like really clean sections and then it goes into like a boom kind of feel. So it's like I was just kind of like trying to emulate the feel, and then I was sitting there and listening to it, and then I was like, there was just a lot going on in my life at that time, and I was like, there's no reason for anybody to do like some of the shit they're doing. And that was just kind of the whole premise of No Reason, was just like, there's no reason for bullshit. There's no reason to be mad at other people succeeding. There's no reason for that. Like, so that was how No Reason came about. And then Thrones of Sand, that one, I was very heavily Slipknot influenced. I also tried to get like flavorful with sweet picking in that solo, trying to do some fancy things along the guitar work of that one. But the actual story of Thrones of Sand is about the fall of Jacob in the Bible, believe it or not, just word for word straight out of the Bible. Like, I mean, not word for word, but like I made it fit with some of the phrases from the Bible and just made that about you know, how everything that you could have is, it could be a massive castle, but it could just be built on sand. So it's kind of the real kicker for that story.
I love kind of learning the process of how people come up with stuff, and like I love that story. Like you're really, you know, you're kind of finding your own groove, but you know how you sample from other people but make it your own. I love that. And if I'm not mistaken, did you just come out? Is Mental Asylum is a new album you just put out?
So Mental Asylum is a really old album that's also currently working on being remastered. At the time when I was uploading stuff to Spotify and Apple Music, it was just me solely. I was programming drums, which I don't know how to do. I was doing the bass lines, I was recording the vocals, and some of the very, very early renditions was before I knew how to use the click button. So I didn't have a metronome, and I was just like free-forming the songs. Which they were still in A time, but not good, correct time. And so it took me a minute of actually figuring out, all right, I can record these DI tracks, get these professionally mixed and mastered, produced with drums that don't sound like a 4-year-old programmed them. And we can have some actual legit songs. So like those ones, Mental Asylum album, actually, that was where we kind of started the whole hashtag mental metal thing, was because people were saying that that album was like the creation of a new genre of music, which people called like mental metal. It's because like kind of just like makes you feel like you gone insane a little bit.
Well, you kind of did what a lot of us do. Like I would say my first two albums, I call them demo albums because when I was learning to be a producer, and I didn't have a drummer, I'm like you, you know, I don't wait for other people. I do all the parts. And then, you know what I mean? If you wait, you'll wait forever for other people to accomplish what you want. But I never like when I go back to those two albums that I did, I'm proud of them, you know, but they definitely need rework. They need real drums. They need all that stuff. You can only do so much finger drumming and everything else on your MIDI keyboard before you need someone to step in and go, okay, you know, like that's all right, but it's not there. So I find it so fascinating when I hear that other artists are sludging it out just like we are. So it is exciting to know that you are going to re-release it because I mean, Mental Asylum, it's great stuff. I mean, you got some really good traction from that.
Yeah, and I love Mental Asylum. That album art actually was taken right up on my roof. I was sitting up there and I was smoking a cigarette. And I was like, "Mom, come take a picture of me." And she was like, "Okay." And she walked outside like within 2 seconds after I sent that message. I was like, "Whoa, holy shit, where did you come from?" And then that's where that album art came from.
Out in the wild, there's one creature feared by hunters, admired by lumberjacks, and envied by hipsters.
Yeah, it's me, the elegant Sasquatch. And let me tell you, these locks don't tame themselves.
Introducing the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company. Beard oils, butters, and washes so good, they'll make your face smell like you wrestled a cedar tree while sipping fine whiskey.
Last week, a hiker followed me for 3 miles just to ask what cologne I was wearing. Joke's on him. I don't wear cologne. I wear the gentleman.
Upgrade your beard game. Sophisticate your outer beast. Find the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company at elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com.
And stop stealing my jerky!
Song Mental Asylum, actually, believe it or not, was a suicide note.
Is that something you have struggled with? Have you struggled with depression and that sort of thing?
Not a whole lot. I won't get too deep into that because I do like sometimes I like have depressive moments, but I try to just combat that with, I got music, I got things around me. So like that particular night, I remember writing Mental Asylum. I had my grandpa's acoustic guitar in my room, and I was sitting there, and I was not in a very good headspace, and then I was crying and looked over and saw my guitar, and I just started playing the same 3 chords over and over and over again, and then the words just came out, and then I wrote the solo on acoustic as well, and it was not easy to play that, but I just remember going down, I left the notes, I had all the words in my notes app on my phone, and then I didn't touch it for like a year, and then went back and I was like, all right, I need to release a song, and then I saw that one pop up and I was like, yep, that's it, that's a song.
Well, Sonny, I want to tell you, we've talked to a lot of artists that kind of, went through the COVID time, and honestly, the COVID time was kind of a certain time in your life when you were just kind of developing anyways, like you were coming out of high school and really starting to get into what you were doing. But I want to tell you, we've talked to a lot of people that have told us that the one thing that really kind of helped them get through that time was music. And it was the same for me and Cain. Like we were starving to do anything. It's kind of why we do what we do. Like we were doing album reviews, and we were performing songs and just sending them out to our friends. And what we found was it was that doing that was therapeutic for a lot of people. So it was kind of a way of kind of opening up and dealing with a certain part of depression. And I've kind of maybe told this story a few times already, but there was a while back I was kind of feeling depressed a little bit, and I sat down on an afternoon and wrote this song, which was kind of dealing with how I was feeling. And the nice thing was, once I got it done and got it out and I sent it to Cain and we put some music to it and listened to it, I pretty much was able to walk away from it. It was like I just kind of wanted to get it out. And and the power of what you're doing, is just a way of telling your story, maybe to yourself. And then like I felt better about it because it's like I didn't know how else to express it. And I kind of hear that when you're talking about how you kind of create your stuff. And I just want you to know, man, it does influence other people, and it's a good story to share because we all kind of need that. And so thank you for sharing that story with us.
Absolutely. And music is a way out, man. I mean, you can have the worst shit going on in your life, and I mean, if I'm going through a rough patch, you best believe I'm listening to some Rihanna or some shit. Just bumping, just making myself feel good. It's tricking my brain to make me think I'm not sad, Like, just put yourself in that mood.
That's really why I brought it up. I mean, when you said what you said, it kind of it makes my head go off like a bell, because we talk about, like Randy said, we talk about depression. I'm very honest with the audience, as is Randy with our depression. I've suffered through it my whole life. And the only thing, it's not that family didn't get through with me or but the only thing that really got me through for whatever reason was music. It was the guitar. It was sitting down and strumming just a few strings or a couple notes and just playing them over and over again. Sometimes that's all you need. So, you didn't have to go deep into it. I wasn't, I didn't mean to prod you on it, but I'm glad we got to talk about it, because I think what you're saying, this is why we do it, right, Randy? This is how we want to help people, is the beauty of music. Sometimes we forget just how great it is and what it can do for you. It's the greatest therapy in the world. And we're just so glad to have guys like you also doing it and just trudging through life.
I mean, I was glad Sonny brought up Rihanna. I love Rihanna. And I realized that over time, when I wanted to put myself in that certain mood, I would just go pull out the right album, put it on, and next thing you know, I'm not feeling so bad, or it's just, music is such a powerful thing.
Now that we're talking about it, a band that always lifted me up and got me through it all was the Deftones, or Deftones, if you're going through it. And the thing about Deftones is this is the reason I bring it up. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Deftones just hit a massive milestone. So here we are 30 years later, and they rocked it back in the days, and they actually made it back into the top 25 charts. That people are loving it so much. They're listening to White Pony, which I literally have sitting behind me. I just listened to it before the show came on. Their new album, Private Music, is killing it, but they're having a huge revival. And also bands like Limp Bizkit are having a massive revival right now. And all of these kids are rediscovering these great, great bands that we thought maybe would never make it. Like I can remember in high school thinking like, is this or like Nirvana or whatever, is this what we're going to sit around as like old people and listen to with our grandkids or something? And I think the answer is this, everybody. I think the answer is a resounding yes. I think that as grandpas and grandmas, we're going to sit around the fire or whatever you do, the table, and we're going to discuss bands like that. So who do you think, Sonny, of all these bands that I mentioned, or some of these bands in the new metal era, who do you think is going to continue to age like a fine wine?
You mentioned Limp Bizkit, man, and God, I just can't wait to be 80 years old and with my grandkids and to be looking around them and just introducing the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
For real, man. And then show them like West Borland and all the costumes and then break stuff.
Yeah, dude.
On. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be the new classic for everybody.
I love Limp Bizkit.
Man, that's awesome. Well, how about this, Sonny? What are you working on right now? What's in front of you, and what are you trying to accomplish these days?
So I have 2 songs in studio right now that I'm currently working on finishing up the lyrics for. One of them I have the lyrics finished up for, and I just have to send the tracks off. The other one I got a couple songs or a couple verses I got to work on. And then after that, it's straight up remastering the Deities album and Mental Asylum and Walls. Those are the 3 biggest things I need to work on next after these 2 songs release. Along with our intro song on our set, it's called Intro/Error 404. Kind of has almost, the intro part is like a solo. It just starts off with like Jared on the drums, he does a little drum fill, and then it goes straight into this like, I almost call it like my version of an eruption, where I just straight up shred for a few seconds, and then I end up on a low note, and I hold it out. Drummer clicks off 1, 2, 3, 4, and we start right into the song.
That's awesome. How about are you doing any live performing anytime soon? Where are we at with that?
We have some shows coming up the end of January, beginning of February. We were going to play at the skate bar, the Skate 8 bar, but we moved that to May, I believe. So we still have 2 dates, 1 January, 1 February, I think. Not entirely positive. Might be both January. I'm not positive.
Well, why don't we share your social stuff with the listeners so they can check that out, maybe come and check out a show.
Oh, absolutely. Any shows you want to come see, you go to sonnybmusic.com/shows, I think is the right. Yeah, /shows. Or if you just go to sonnybmusic.com and you go to the pull down tab and you'll see shows tab, it'll take you straight to my calendar and it'll show you all the shows I have coming up. And also, if you go to my website, you can scroll down to the bottom. You can find all of our links to all of our socials, including our links to the Room 420 podcast that we do.
Oh, so you guys also do a podcast. Tell us a little bit about that.
So something that we've also noticed in the live music industry is there's not a lot of people that are wanting to drink all that much anymore. You know, you find everybody's out back smoking. That's what everybody does nowadays. Is nobody wants to drink as much. Nobody wants to go get hammered and not remember the night. They want to be able to just giggle and snack and have fun. So we are working on kind of uniting the music industry with the cannabis industry and bringing things together to make more fun, you know, like maybe have some like weed venues or something like that set up so that people can just come and get ripped and listen to music, you know, or working on stuff like that and just uniting people that want to enjoy music.
Well, it's kind of the perfect pairing, isn't it? I mean, when you think about like all those, like the 60s and say, I'm sure it was happening in like the 50s and stuff too, but they don't talk about it as much. But it's kind of the perfect pairing and where people are just kind of like chilling out and enjoying themselves. So, how long have you guys been at it with this podcast? And what else can you tell us about it?
So we've been doing episodes for, I think we're on episode 9 or 10, but we had a few live streams we did before that. We've just been we talk about what we got going on with Sonny B. We talk about our partners with Punk in the Corn and Rock Rage Radio, you know, bands that are going through there. And we do some interviews with some of the bands we've come across, you know, people we have stories with, people we have memories with, just chatting about good times that we've gone through. And then we're doing some more interviews coming up. I have an interview with a band from Australia this Wednesday. We did another Australian band last weekend that we played a festival in October called Punk in the Corn. And there was bands from all over the world there at that. And we're working on interviewing some of the bands from there and just kind of getting some of these bands' stories out there, kind of like what you guys are doing, and getting the exposure out there, kind of just like we'll scratch your back, you scratch our back, because we know you're going to want to be seen on this. Go share it to your page. We're obviously going to share it everywhere to all of our fans, and we're picking up the stoner crew that likes music, and hopefully they can find some new bands through us and just show people off.
I know you kind of hit on it, because I was just going to ask you is do you feel like the, kind of that scene is pretty open to each other? Like, you find a lot of camaraderie with other bands and kind of having that literally same goal of just trying to get it out there and help other people see what's happening out there?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are actually really enjoying what we're doing. There's people that just love it, and they're like, some of these people, they're just like, I can't believe I haven't seen them before.
Yeah, I mean, when I was promoting a lot of metal stuff, what I really found was a lot of our local area metal bands were so supportive of each other. Like, it was like they knew it was important to show up for the other guys and vice versa. Like to make the scene strong, you kind of had to show up for each other.
Oh yeah, for sure. Always got to be there for each other, and the support is what makes everything good.
Well, so I got to tell you, time always flies on this show, and it goes by quick when we're having a good time. I first just want to thank you for taking a little time out of your day to sit down with us and kind of, I hope in the grand scheme of it, we can shed a little light on what you're doing and just get you out there a little bit more. And don't be afraid to post on our page. We got events coming up, man. You're more than welcome anytime to use Scratch the Vinyl as a way to keep getting your music out there, man.
Well, hell yeah, I really appreciate that, and thank you guys so much for having me on here. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for the great conversation.
Well, there you have it, everybody. When I think about Sonny, I think about this guy is so young, but he's been through so much and he's done so many things already. I can't wait to see what he does next. And I also think to myself, man, that damn head of hair of his, like if I had a head of hair like that, I probably could have ruled the Lincoln scene. So it's great talking to you, Sonny B. We're so glad that you're on here, and all you scratchaholics out there scratching away. We love you guys. Keep listening, keep following us, the little podcast that now could and continues to do, and do it every week as you follow us here on
Scratch the Vinyl. Scratch the Vinyl.